Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I'm going to show you how to make a fun party favor that will also decorate your party table while the party's going on this 4th of July. And we're going to use some sparklers, and these can be picked up at any grocery store, dollar store, gas station, pretty much anywhere for about $1 a package, maybe even less. And we're going to be using some paper goods from our sponsor, Paper Mart. You can find them online at www.papermart.com. First thing we're going to do is take a strip of craft paper, and I get this by the roll at Paper Mart, but you could also even use a brown bag if you want, and then take a look at what you have for decorative edge scissors. I think these jumbo ones will be really fun. I've got about, I would say, 5-inch wide paper here that I trimmed off, and I'm just going to cut it down with my decorative edge scissors. Use whatever ones you have. The thing I like about the Paper Mart craft paper, this is the 60-pound, but it doesn't even feel that heavy, is that it's very crispy and it cuts really well with decorative edge scissors. If you're using like a brown bag and the paper's too soft to really cut well, you can always just kind of tear the edges or use a rotary cutter on it, and it will give you a nice smooth design that way. So what I want is I want the word sparklers and the little firecracker at the end to show. So I'm just going to wrap this around like that and just adhere it together on the back. Just a little bit of overlap there. Don't worry if it's not perfect. It's going to be just fine. And I'm going to use a little bit of hot glue for this project. My hot glue gun has seen better days. I think it's about time to replace it. Paper Mart does carry hot glue guns and glue sticks as well. I use mine so often that that I have to replace it every couple of years. Then I've got this pretty corrugated paper from Paper Mart, and I like to mix up textures. And I think when you are doing a project like for a holiday and you don't kind of know what to do, if you go into your craft room and you dig out all the supplies and the colors that you're trying to use, like in this case I did red, blue, craft, and cream, I came up with some really cool combinations that I wouldn't have thought of if I was just kind of thinking, okay, what do I want to make? Sometimes looking at the supplies you have on hand is a really great starting point for inspiration. And that's kind of what I did here. I had a totally other idea in mind when I came downstairs to work, but then when I started pulling out supplies that I had in those colors, I came up with something completely different. And that's totally fine. And then I just fringe those edges with the fringing scissors, and now I'm just going to mash it down. And you don't have to have those special scissors. You can just like fringe them with regular scissors. It'll just take, you know, more cuts, but totally doable. I wouldn't go and buy a pair of special scissors if you're only going to use it once. I do find though that I use those scissors quite a bit for different wrapping projects and whatnot. So just to let you know. Now I'm going to wrap that around, so I've got this extra texture and interest there. And if you didn't have corrugated paper, you could always use regular paper. There's nothing wrong with that. Just going to tuck that down there. And then I'm just going to wrap it with a band of the this ribbon. And I'm not going to tie it in a bow because I don't think it really needs it. And I don't really want to use up too much of that ribbon. So that way I'll have it for another project. Or if you're making a bunch of these, this would go really, really far. So I'm just going to clip that off with my fabric shears. I like it because this ribbon is, it doesn't seem to want to fray very much, so I don't feel like I have to like fold under the ends or anything, but you certainly could if you wanted to. Alright, and then I'm just going to fluff that up a little bit more. And then finally, I'm just going to give it a little wrap with this star garland. And I like this because I can use this for New Year's Eve. I can use it for a lot of different events. So I'm just going to pull it to the back. Trim it with either wire cutters or utility shears, and just twist the ends together. And this could even be reused if somebody wanted to, you know, I don't know, wrap it around a pencil, or this is a fun party favor for kids, so they might come up with some creative ideas to reuse things. Now, this is something that I actually had left over from a Mardi Gras party. It's just a little gold spray. So I'm just going to tuck that in, hopefully without ripping my paper. I did cut it down a little shorter. Oh, and to cut this, all you have to do, this is what the end of the thing looks like, just bend it back and forth a couple times and the wire inside will snap. And that way you don't have to dull any scissors or anything while you're working on that. Now I also thought this would be prettier if I had like a little pinwheel and maybe a rosette. And we're going to do that really quick. So what I did here is I have a 6x6 square of paper, and I'm just going to trim it along the lines, probably about halfway from the corner to the middle. So just use a pencil and a ruler to, you know, make your marks there. Now I will put in the video description a link to how to make a spinning working pinwheel. This one's just going to be decorative because it's a lot quicker to do this. And if you're just using them as a party favor, that's all you need. I'm going to poke a hole right there so that I have room for a brad. And then what you want to do, and I think I'm going to switch to a paper punch for this part. I'm going to punch in every other point. Okay, so we're going to go around. So I'm going to skip one, punch, skip this one, punch, and I'm going to skip this one and punch. So it's every other corner, okay? So basically each one of these triangles has one punch on it. And then I'm just going to use a gold brad, and you can find those at any office supply store, and mine has gone on a little adventure and is hiding from me. There it is. And you can get these super duper long ones, which are really good for this, but even if you have a regular one, it'll be fine. And then you're just going to thread your corners through like that. This is really great for any like leftover 4th of July scrapbook paper you might have. And again, like I said, I will link to the tutorial on how to make a spinning one. You use wire and beads for that. It's just a little bit more time consuming, and if you want, you want to make a bunch of these for a 4th of July party, you'll want to do it fairly quickly. So there's that. And then I'm just taking a BBQ skewer, and I am going to wrap this around the BBQ skewer. So pretty simple here. And I'm going to try to actually wrap it around a couple times just to really lock it down. You could also just glue it to the skewer if you want to. Totally up to you. I'm going to do a little dab of glue because I want that point covered, basically. So I'm going to pull that up so it catches in the glue and keeps that point secure. That way you don't have kids running around with pointy sticks because the point is covered. You could also glue a bead on the end, or you could just simply trim off that, you could trim off the point with utility shears if you wanted to. Let's see how that works. I'll show you on this one. Just trim off the point. Don't do this with your nice scissors. I get these at the Dollar Tree. They are cheap and they're serrated and they work on like light wires, light woods, things like that. Okay, so then I want to also make a rosette. So what I'm going to do here is I've already pre-scored this piece of 5 by 12 inch scrapbook paper. It was just a scrap. And I am going to accordion fold this on all the little score marks that I made. So you could make a bunch of these pinwheels and rosettes and stick them in a galvanized pail with some paper shred, like some metallic blue or metallic red paper shred, or you make your own paper shred with the shreddy scissors if you want to, and just throw that in the middle of your table. That would be so pretty and so simple, especially if you had some of these sparkly things to throw on top. Rosettes are such a quick and easy way to make an addition to a centerpiece that has a lot of bulk and fullness, so I really like using them. I'm using a kind of a glittered paper here, and it kind of wants to rip on me a little bit. So then what you're going to do is you're kind of fold the stack in half, and you're going to be pulling the ends together, okay, and we're going to be securing them with glue and a little punch out. Okay, so that's how we're going to get our rosette. But what I'm going to do first is punch a couple circles from some leftover paper from our pinwheel. This is a great way to use up different scraps too. Get a couple circles there. So first what I want to do is do a little bit of glue on either end here and close it up, close them up. Okay, just watch your fingers. I usually do this on a silicone mat, but I forgot to grab my silicone mat today. Then while I'm holding that, because you do have to kind of hold this while it dries, I'm going to put some glue on my punch out there and stick that in the middle. And since I don't have any glue seeping over, I'm just going to flip it and do the other back side at the same time so I don't have to spend all day holding this. Okay, and then just hold that while it dries. You can also go in and hide your BBQ skewer right on one of those little folds. It's pretty well smushed together. And I would, if you didn't cut your point off, put the point end going up so you won't have a pointy stick for the kids to get hurt on. So I put a couple extra rounds of the sparkler little garland there. And then we can tuck our little rosette and pinwheel from the back here. And there we have a fun little party favor. You could stack these up, just kind of set them in a galvanized flower pot or window box, and they'd be very pretty sitting there waiting for their recipients. These little pinwheels and rosettes would be fun to have at a parade, and the sparklers, of course, would be fun to use after the sun goes down. I want to thank you so much for watching today. Please check out our sponsor, Paper Mart. You can find them online at www.papermart.com. Packaging for less.